gamers, and welcome to Fellowship. It's launching its open beta today at like 6 p.m. Euro time, something like that, where you can get in and try this for free. But I've had so much fun with this game that I think it's worth doing some tips and tricks for you guys in order to jump in and enjoy the best that this has to offer in the time you have during the open beta before it goes live. What is Fellowship? Let's jump over. Fellowship has taken the dungeon element of World of Warcraft, so the bit that a lot of people really look forward to, which is doing dungeons, and just made that into a fully focused game of its own. It's just the dungeons. This is not an MMO. So the first thing is people keep thinking it's an MMO. It is not. It is just the dungeons, and it is a hero-based dungeon game. So if we go to swap hero here, this is our main central city hub. We're going to be here. You don't go exploring. It's not open world or anything. It is hero-based. So what you have is tank, DPS, and healer. This is just the dev client. There's more characters coming. I've, in fact, played other characters that are not a part of this. They'll be coming later. So we have different tanks, like Helena here and Maiko. You're going to look at these, and you're going to say these are World of Warcraft characters. You're not wrong, but they're combinations of a whole bunch of those characters mismatched together, right? So Helena looks like a warrior, right? Like you would expect a warrior, prop warrior in World of Warcraft. It's actually like a prop warrior with a bit of prop paladin thrown in there. You are going to be able to do things like Avengers Shield and along those kinds of things. Maiko looks like a monk, but also mixes in Death Knight. So it's got like AoE grips, a bit more like Vengeance Demon Hunter and things like that, but also does monk-style combos where you'll be looking to mix that up. It has 5-star difficulty compared to Helena with a 1-star. That actually I don't think is reflective of anything, right? If you've played World of Warcraft, you can immediately pick up this game. Certainly if you played FF14 as well, you'll know what's going on. DPSs, so you look at Rhyme here. Rhyme looks like a Frost Mage. Very much similar to a Frost Mage mixed with some other elements. Similar to Ardios, who looks like a Fire Mage. It's kind of a Fire Mage cross Warlock type play that goes with that. And then we've got Mara, who's like a Rogue slash Havoc Demon Hunter type player. And then similar with the healers. Sylvie looks like a Resto Druid, but I've played a lot of Sylvie. Resto Druid plus Resto Shaman plus a little Demonology Warlock in there. Does things like Implosion for its damage. And then you've got Vigor, who is more like the Priest style, but mixes in some other elements of those characters as well. So my main focus, I'm about 20 hours in, has been on Helena and Sylvie. So let's have a look at Helena. Right, let's get some tips out the way. First things first. They have baked in a lot of what add-ons are kind of necessary if you're doing Mythic Plus and stuff like that into the game by default. One of the main ones is actually the ability to tag a target that's going to be your interrupt target. This is vital. So the way you do this is press escape, go to settings, go to input, scroll all the way to the bottom. And you'll see here, select interrupt target and trigger interrupt target. For you WoW players, this is focus and focus interrupt. You're going to use this almost exclusively. Because what will happen, and we'll show you some gameplay, is when you mark a target, your actual character portrait is put next to that target. And then your interrupt, as long as you're in range, will always just interrupt that target, okay? You have normal interrupt like you would expect, but you're going to be using this almost exclusively because you're locking onto that target and making things work. Yes? So do this immediately and get used to it. Honestly, we played with some new players in the first couple of runs. Not having people to show you which target they're interrupting is infuriating because it also shows you the cooldown of their interrupt. This is vital, especially as you move up to the higher leagues. You're going to want to coordinate interrupts, and this means you could do it in a pug format as well, because you can see who's got interrupts, who hasn't. All that kind of stuff is very important. So do this. This is like the biggest tip I can give you right now is get this sorted, select your interrupt target, and trigger interrupt targets, right? Absolutely vital. As I said, normal interrupt, I have it bound. It's here. It's called Bash. I never use. I use focus interrupts almost exclusively. Let's talk about gear. Okay, gear comes in a number of different ways. Now, it's what a lot of people have described this as, of like M+ without all the fuss. Absolutely is that. Okay, it's M plus without all the fuss. As you can see, when you come to the grand table, you have quick play. This will just put you into a very quick dungeon and get you going with very low difficulty. These are things you can clear in like 4 or 5 minutes, like pretty quickly. Now, what it is going to do is give you Quartermaster's tokens and cash keys. This is just so you can fill out your slot. So here's my character right now. But when you start a fresh hero, what you'll have is a bunch of empty slots where you just don't have gear yet. Going and doing quick play, even 4 or 5 runs, very, very quickly, will allow you to come to the equipment vendor and just buy the gear you need. And just get it. Like, there's no randomness to this, right? You just buy the stuff you need and fill out your slots. Now, this gear here, although it's got white gear and green gear, and it will eventually go onto the blue gear, is slightly different because it's purchasable from the vendor in that it can't be upgraded in the normal, usual fashion. Okay, so this is just going to fill you out with quick item levels. Cool fact, this stuff is meta progressed and shared currency. It's like warbands and stuff. That means, you see my 11 tokens here that I have? If I go to swap here and I go to somebody I've not played yet, like Mara, one, I could swap on the fly. I'm just here. Okay, there's no logging out or anything like that. So Mara, I've never played before. You can see I'm missing some spells and things like that. But if I go here, I can just outfit Mara with a full set of gear, including the advanced gear, which is level 75. Because I've already unlocked this on my overall meta progression path, which is shown here in the rewards menu. So you can see on this rewards menu, it has clocked that I've already done the first mega dungeon. Although I haven't done it on this character. So this is your rewards screen. Next tip, when you do any piece of content, up until quite advanced into the game, you will get something in here, which will give you more stuff. And these are the lock nodes here. So you can see it says complete 1 adventure, which is a dungeon. Do 1 dungeon, it will unlock for you my next new hero ability for my talent to actually put onto my spell bars. And the next one is do 2, do 3. Do 4. So very quickly when you do... This works with quick play, like the easy dungeons. You will very quickly get your stuff. The idea is when you get a new hero, it'll give you very few abilities, so you know what you're doing. So you've got like Shadow Step. Again, it's like a rogue Havoc Demon Hunter type character. You have all those elements, but then it's going to very quickly just start giving you stuff. Not only that, you don't buy these. There's no currency. As long as you've done the dungeon, it will give it you. And that also means that you can go in both directions. So you can see here, this is complete 1 adventure to get your mount. Done. I already have it on this character because I've already done this on my meta progression. So on the reward screen, this is kind of overall meta progression. And this is individual for the character. It'll also reward things like gold and all that kind of stuff. All right. So just bear in mind, if I swap back to Helena here. Boop, done. Once you swap back to Helena, you can see on here, I've done plenty of stuff. All right. I've done plenty of stuff. So I've worked all the way through here. It gives you gold, some resources, talent rows. So this is not a talent tree. I want to be clear on this. This is not a talent tree. This is just your overall meta prog. So that you can, after you've done a dungeon, you get all your character's abilities. But this is the important one. Once you've hit these checkpoints, which is the different leagues. So you can see you'll start in its Contender League, which is the very easy one. You won't even get a dungeon timer until like Contender 3 or Contender 4, something like that. Then you will have a checkpoint to hit, which is to do the first mega dungeon, which is Cithral's Fall, which is like an M+7 is how you're going to equate it. Cithral's Fall is your first multi-boss dungeon. So every dungeon that's in like the normal pool has 1 boss at the end. So they're done very, very quickly, talking 14 minutes, something like that per dungeon. Then you'll get a big checkpoint to advance you to the next league, which is to do the mega dungeon. So you can see our next stop. We have done everything up to the Heart of Tazari. That's going to be our new big mega dungeon, which will then promote us to the Champion League. And I believe in the beta that we can't get to Paragon League. Paragon League is locked for the moment, but it'll be open later on. So we're going to be doing that today. Pretty excited about that because it's super fun once you get into it. And down here you have some constant progress, which will unlock new types of mounts and tigers and things like that to go along the way. I mentioned upgrades earlier. Okay, so gearing. One of the most frustrating parts of Mythic Plus for me in World of Warcraft, and what really turned me on for it, is it's dramatically unrewarding. You can spend 45 minutes, 50 minutes in there and get nothing out of it. And sometimes you do get an item, but very likely it's not what you want outside of first week prog. That's not really what happens here. what will actually happen is you might get duplicate items. That can happen. Everybody gets an item at the end, regardless. If you go over time, that you will still get items, but it will like drop a little bit in item level. And I know you're going to panic. Don't, because all your gear can be completely upgraded here at the blacksmith with gold. So let's say an item level 120 is what you're doing, right? That should, if you win the dungeon, you should get item level 120, but you went slightly over time. You're probably going to get item level 105 of the same item, right? But then you come here, and for gold, it will go up to 120. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's no issue with this whatsoever. You just go up. You can see I've held on to level 60 items, because if I want to, obviously I've spent my gold because we were doing some pushes. But you can see here, I can send these 60s up to 75. And the sort of bandings of green and blue just really indicates the level cap it can go to. You can see this is like item level, upgrade 4 out of 8. Whereas my 120 stuff is only at 4 out of 8 as well. So essentially it's a doubling, right, as you move up. But what it means is if you get item level 15 boots, which these were, I sent them to 60. No problem. Just with a bit of gold. And if you're looking for gold, there's a scrapper. So if you get like another, if I got another 120 ring, I can scrap it in here for a lot of gold. If you scrap an item that you've already invested gold in, so that would be something, well, everything here, but like these level 60s, which are 4 out of 8, you get that bonus gold back. In other words, just send your upgrades. It's fine. It's totally fine. Just send your upgrades. No worries whatsoever. So my tip here is upgrade your gear. Gear is a big deal in this game. Like, the power difference you get from gear is pretty outlandish. Like, you get a lot of power. Send your gear upgrades. In terms of other things, what if you really can't get an item you really want? Well, there's a transmute guy here at the crafter. This isn't crafting fresh weapons. That's not what this is. What it actually is transmutation. So let's say these trinkets that I got. I really just don't need it, or I already have it. I can put it in here and do a shoddy reforge, and it will transform the item into a random item of another slot. So you can gamble on whether it'll just turn into something you actually need, because it's at a decent item level, right? There is a bug in the game right now, as I said, this is beta, where if you've upgraded a lot of an item, so let's say I got it to 8 out of 8, and I transmute it, it will reset it to the lower item level. Be aware of that. If it drops raw at a certain item level and you transmute it, it will stay at that item level. So if I got a 120 ring drop and I transmuted it, I would get a 120 item of another type. However, if I've got an item that was level 15 and I upgraded that all the way to like 120, it would reset to 15. So just bear that in mind. Generally, I prefer, at least in the beta, to just upgrade items and then sell them for gold, because gold is universally good to get things going. Next tip, don't panic that your character feels like it's missing stuff in the first couple of like quick play runs and stuff, because what you won't have yet, because it actually comes through the meta progression, is your talent points. Now, people keep looking at this and saying it's the Mists of Pandaria talent tree. It is not. It is not. You can take as many talents out of any rows as you want. So I've got like the entirety of the level 2 row. All you're getting here is new talents, and you can take whatever the hell you want. Your limitation is actually talent points, not options of talents. And more talent points come with time. So you can see, if I wanted to take... And they have a different cost, right? So you can see here it says 2, 1, 3. So these are stronger, more powerful talents, but they cost a bit more. So if I look here, and I can respec as much as I want. I just click them off. Right, they're all gone now. And now I can take a level 3 one. You can respec in between dungeons. So what you will absolutely find is if your character is very strong, like this is a very defensive build I've got here. You can see I've got things like block increase. When I use my mitigation, my abilities reduce the cooldown of things like that. I've got Master of War, my Grand Melee, which is my most overpowered ability that I have currently in the game. Is on a shorter cooldown. I've got some very standard stuff. Armor increase. This is the efficiency of my toughness, which is mitigation, because we're doing higher content. But if I wanted to swap to a very different build, I could respec out of these very quickly and just go into more DPS-focused things. Sword and Board, which empowers my shield slam. It also gives me an absorb, like 2,000% strength that lasts for 8 seconds. All these kinds of things is I can pick up and change my build very quickly. I would like loadouts. I've asked the devs if we can get loadouts, because loadouts would be really, really nice. But things like that are really very important to have. You want these shields. You want to be able to swap your talents. But just don't think that when you get a talent row, you're choosing one talent from here. Because you're not. You're choosing whatever the hell you feel like, right? Whatever the hell you feel like. On top of that, there's a really interesting thing that you guys are going to find and start hunting down with this, which is trinkets. A lot of the things that you guys are utilizing in WoW and FF14 actually come from trinkets in this game. So that'll be something you want to look out for. So you can see here that my Orb of Shadows trinket is actually Shroud. I can shroud the whole group and move through packs, right? That's pretty cool, man. This one here, you have 2 trinket slots, is the ability... This is a health potion, 40% HP. This thing is crucial for me as a tank. But I have this one here, and you can see you have 2 trinket slots on your bars, so they're always set. This is Warlock Gateway. It comes in the form of a trinket in this game. It is Warlock Gateway, and it's permanent, and the whole team can use it, and it is a true teleport. You can see you get a debuff here, so you can't do it again for a few amount of seconds. But this is a true teleport, which means if you put this between a pack of enemies, you don't travel through them like you do with Warlock Gateway. You literally appear on the other side, meaning you can do trash skips and all that kind of stuff. It will depend, and obviously at higher levels, you probably want to coordinate your trinkets in some way. This one here is a sprint. This is a sprint for my entire party and team. So I could do, like, Aspect of the Pack, you know, that kind of thing, or Windrush Totem. Stampeding Roar. It comes in the form of a trinket in this game. So you're going to be looking for a lot of trinkets and keep it. You see, I've kept my trinkets, although they're low item level. It's the functionality I want. So you've got to be looking out for them. Try and get them early, and try and make use of them when you get them. One thing I found with newer players is they get a trinket, and they're not using them in a way that can help out the group, especially like using Stampeding Roar to move around and things like that. So make sure you're doing that as well. One thing you'll be waiting for is like, man, I wish I had this ability or that ability. A lot of that now comes with the weapons. Your weapons have their own abilities as well. So you can see I got Cyril's Aegis here. I love this thing as a tank. This means if I take if I take a ton of damage, I then explode onto the group and do enormous AoE damage. Things like the Legendary Ring from Warlords of Draenor, that's in the game for the casters. So that's in there. Prayer of Mending, but like a really overpowered version for the healers. That's a weapon. Shifting Power, one of the mage abilities, is in the game as well. So these are all coming from your weapons. And what will happen once we get to Epic, and we're not there yet, there's a weapons master here, is your weapons themselves will come with their own talent tree. So once you find your favorite weapon, I'm probably not going to replace this one. I haven't seen the other weapons yet, but once we get to the Epic version, I'll want to spec it out and do all different talents and stuff like that. So those are the major tips. Make sure you get your mount. In order to get your mount, let's do this one. Once you unlock your mount after doing one dungeon, and you get this here, this will be your first mount, the Corsair, you actually need to go to the stableman here. Okay, so just to give you an idea, that's the main table, and you can see I'm looking at it over here. This is the guy who'll let you choose your mount that you want to use. So you have to equip it here. So I want this one, and now it just swaps it. There you go. That makes it work. Some other vendors you might be interested. Cosmetics is not in the game yet. So this game is you buy it and that's it. You're done. You have the game. There's no. We've spoken to them. They're not locking heroes or anything like that. Cosmetics are really going to be for glamming up your character as MTX later, but not necessary to play the game in any way. Resource vendor. So this resource vendor is one of the things that does have some level of weekly lockout. Because this is what the transmuting is for. Remember I showed you earlier that you could take an item and then swap it into another item? So these resources come from here. You can buy one per week. Alright? So this will resupply in a day. Simple as that. So you buy these, and then that's unlocked. And which means you can buy one of all of them per week. And also you can keep stacking up the cash keys. You get them from just doing dungeons. which means you will have within the first week, if you've played plenty, you'll have a supply just to buy the whole shop out without any questions, buts, answers. Easy game. Stash your old gear. Put it here if you want to. You have plenty of stash tabs. You get this as default. No issues there to go with. And then other than that, you've got some training dummies. One thing I really want to show you guys and give you a little idea is about actually when you're playing. So we'll do that in a second. So you've got training dummies down here that you can mess with, and healing training dummies to practice your character on. And then you've got a bit of a leaderboard here to go and check things out. So you can see my team, Alex, Furbo, Danny, and me are currently at the top. I believe there's some other people chasing us to get up here. I'm not sure where some of my friends got. Yeah, we're... Oh, you can see Robin and Jimmy were getting up there. Not as good as us, though. Slackers. Makes me sad they're not up there yet. Okay, how does the game work? So obviously you can invite friends. You have damage meter and healing meters and damage taken as default in the game. It just comes with it. These guys have worked with, I believe, Noggy from Method to get MDT into the game. They're talking to them. And they've worked with Warcraft logs as well, so they can log. For the people who want to be really competitive in the game, that's going to be there. Logging already exists as far as I know. But either way, this is going to be your game finder. This will pug. Just search a game and it'll find you and match you up. When you want to start doing some stuff, you can go into challenge here, and these are the different leagues. Okay, so you're going to start in contender, and then you'll eventually move up to adept, where we just about finished. We've got to do the mega dungeon, and then champion, then paragon. You see, not available in this playtest. So what you'll find is when you search here, it will actually... Oh, does it not show it me here? Probably doesn't, because I'm not in a group. So what you'll actually find is a display which will show you the available dungeons. And you can choose. It's not like you've got a key for Mythic Plus and you're like locked into that. And then it will have a whole variety of different affixes, and you can pick and choose which one you want to do. You could run the same dungeon over and over again if you want to, especially if you found one you're very comfortable with and want to farm for very quick gear. We did that a bit. It totally makes sense to do that. On top of that, you will see the affixes are not the same. They change on a dungeon-by-dungeon basis, and then when you do them, it'll alter again. So you might get things... One of the biggest benefits you'll find is that it's all Kiss Curse. So when you have an affix, like, say, a bleed on the group, there's also a very positive effect that comes with it, which will give you, like, tremendous bonus damage. There's a very, very interesting one that I have yet to play with, but my team has... that when an enemy dies, it explodes for its max HP onto the group. And there are some enemies that gain HP when things die near them. So you could create these massive chunky boys on low health, but they have a huge actual max HP pool. Drag them into other packs and then blow them up. Just giving all these varieties of things you want to do. And that then gives you like a haste buff, like a constant bloodlust buff. There's enemies that you'll have seen before. Again, this game wears on its sleeve that it's fully inspired by World of Warcraft's Mythic Plus system. Because you're going to see a lot of the affixes we had during Born Samedi, where it spawns like... an emissary, and if you kill him, you'll get a massive damage buff every sort of 25% in the dungeon. All these kinds of things are going to be present to go through, but you're not going to hit them for a while. One thing I really would encourage is if you're fearful of Mythic Plus in World of Warcraft, this is a great way of getting into it, especially things like Contender League. It's not even going to give you a timer. I think it's until around 3 or 4. Other than that, it's just going to be the dungeon. And the percentages and layouts of the dungeons never change. So you can learn the layout very early on. And the route you're comfortable with very, very early on. One thing as a tank I've really enjoyed is that we've worked together on the routing, and it's not been just on my shoulders. Now, it might be different in a pug environment for sure, but it's not been on my shoulders. We've actually, you can stay in the dungeon for a while after you finish it and go back and where did we go wrong? Would we like to try this route? What we found is every single dungeon, besides a couple of choke points that you have to go through, has a total variety of pathways that suits your group. If you don't like dealing with a lot of caster mobs, then there's routes that don't have any caster mobs, or have one. If you have better damage on bigger, longer-lasting enemies, so you're playing more the Warlock style, you could go with a route that has bigger, giant elites in it. We didn't. We actually changed our route yesterday because we constantly went one way with this big golem. But we decided to take 2 rhymes, the frost mages, which are very bursty, but over time their damage drops. They do huge burst damage. But then if the mob lives too long, their damage starts to taper off quite dramatically. So what we decided to do actually is change our route and go with a bunch of smaller mob groups. Be open to that idea based on your group setup. And that is one of the advantages of having heroes, is that you'd be like, oh, okay, we're carrying, like, rhymes or whatever. All right, we're more bursty. Let's go this route. Let's go this way. Let's change things around a little bit, especially when the bosses get harder. So what you'll find is as you move through the leagues, the bosses start gaining... Even though you're doing the same dungeon, the enemies get new abilities, and the bosses get new abilities that add complexity to it as you've moved up. But it's gradual. You have to do a whole league before that will happen. And then it's like, oh, I've done this boss maybe 12 times, but now this boss has a totally new mechanic added onto it. And then you go up again, it's like, and another mechanic is added to it as you move up through the leagues. Same with the trash. The trash will also gain new abilities as you move through. But thankfully, they use the similar trash names, especially when you get to the mega dungeons. You're going to recognize the trash name. There's not like 50,000 different types of mobs. They have maybe 60 or 70. And then when you get to the mega dungeon, you know what this mob does and how to counter it and how to think about it, right? That is one of the bigger elements of what's going on with this kind of stuff. Because when I go to the codex here, you can see these are the adventures that are available and then the mega dungeons. Now, there's more coming. Like, we have, I think we have half the dungeons available right now in the open beta. But there's going to be more coming. But if you can go to Wormheart and check the loot, we'll tell you what you're looking for. It'll tell you which hero you're getting it for, which league you're in. So if you go to Paragon, it then changes, obviously, to the bigger stuff. And you can... I don't want to look at this because I'm excited to see what's going on. I will point this out. This is Polymorph. Turns your target... But it's Polymorph like you'd expect from WoW. However, it is actually a chicken. Like, it will still attack you, but it does nullify an enemy, right? So that is a trinket. If you want CC of some kind, so this enemy is really, really scary, you're going to want a chicken in the group to make things happen. I actually don't know what a lot of this stuff does. Like, I know what the burger does because I have it. It's supposed to be a drum, but it looks like a burger. And I know the healing potion. I know Shroud. And I know the teleport. I don't know what the Sandbinding Stone does yet, or the Ward Stone. I'm going to wait and see, because one of the most exciting things as your character gets stronger is adding just brand new abilities to your character. And makes it very addictive, especially for the DPSers who get their, like, oh, I just got my, like, legendary ring, so I can now absorb damage and then explode onto the group. I want to see that happen. I had the same feeling with my weapon, which changed me. In full defensive, I was like maybe a quarter of the damage of the DPS. I got this, and on some packs I could out-DPS them. And it's on such a short cooldown, right? It's on such a short... It's a 2-minute cooldown, which pairs well with my other stuff. But I think that's going to get you started. My advice to you when you start this game is to do some quick play. That, and then utilize that token system very quickly to just fill out your slots. As I show you here, if I swap to a character I've not played... like Mara here, just come here and just fill out these slots. Yeah, you can see how many empty slots I've got, and because it costs like 1. These are rings, so rings are 1 token, and you get 2, 3, or even 4 for doing quick play. So just fill these slots out. That's going to be your first couple of runs, and also that's going to give you your 1, 2... You get your abilities extremely quickly, so by... you have everything by 9 dungeons run. That's your mega ability. The first one it gives you is your ultimate ability. This is kind of like what Bloodlust would be, but it's on a character-by-character basis. So you just do absolutely ridiculous damage with this thing, and then you'll get extra normal abilities to add in. And you can see you get them very quickly. By 7, you have everything but 1. And then all you'll be missing is actually like your weapon ability and maybe your trinket abilities, which then get added on. But there's no button bloat. This is it. This is your ultimate ability that goes here, and fill those out. And then get started. Just remember, once you've done 1 dungeon, you can go left and get your ultimate ability. You can also go right, and eventually you'll be able to go up, because this is when you reach item level 5. Now, the rewards thing will glow like this to say, hey, you have things you can click, so it wants me to click these. And it'll just keep glowing, right? It will keep glowing until you figure everything out that you need to click. And now it stops glowing. All right? So it will tell you you've got unspent talent points. You can see I haven't got my rose yet. That comes with a meta progression. So you get, like, ability, then you get talent rose, right? You get something pretty much every single dungeon to get started. I hope you have fun with it. I'm not planning to make guides or anything just yet. We'll see where the game goes, but I think if you're jumping in, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right? Bye, guys.